brand new interview, Alec Baldwin says he believes investigators are going to find that the shooting that killed cinematographer Helena Hutchins on the Rust movie set last year was an accident. He says the tragedy has taken years off his life, and he feared for his safety because of this.
The former president of the United States said he probably shot her on purpose. To me, was really the only time I thought that I was worried about what was going to happen. Because here was Trump, who instructed people to commit acts of violence, and he was pointing the finger at me and saying I was responsible for the death.
The actor once again insisting he did not pull the trigger, a claim the FBI refuted this week.
I never once said, never, that the gun went off in my hand automatically. I always said I pulled the hammer back, and I pulled it back as far as I could. I never took a gun and pointed at somebody and clicked the thing.
Let's bring in attorney Brian Claypool. Let's just get on the record with this, Brian, because you heard what Alec Baldwin just said there. The FBI report says the following here, and I'm quoting, "The weapon could not be made to fire without a pull of the trigger. When enough pressure was applied to the trigger, each of these safety positions were overcome and the hammer fell." In other words, I don't care how much you pull that hammer back, it is not going to fire the gun. Your thoughts?
Yeah, hey, Trace, great to see you again. You're exactly right. I mean, Alec Baldwin's a great actor. He's a wonderful family man, but he shouldn't be a lawyer because he's flat out wrong about this. He said, and by the way, he said previously, too, that he did not pull the trigger, right? Now, this report comes out saying he had to have pulled the trigger, and that clearly suggests that he wasn't telling the truth. Why is that important? Because, Trace, what that does is it potentially brings a charge of obstruction of justice in this case. And that is borne out by the fact also that the feds are trying to get his phone records to see if he potentially tampered with witnesses. So he needs to worry about his own laundry and not that of President Trump or the FBI.
And on CNN, he is now blaming this directly on two other people, saying, quoting here, "There are two people who didn't do what they were supposed to do. I'm not sitting there saying I want them to, go to prison or I want their lives to be hell. I don't want that, but I want everybody to know that those are the two people that are responsible for what happened." I mean, he doesn't want their lives to be hell, but he actually really does, because that's why he just outed them and named them on national television. What's his angle here, Brian?
Yeah, well, his angle globally, Trace, is to say this was an accident. Nobody's responsible because you can't be criminally liable for an accident. That is flat out fiction. Look back at the Dante Wright killing, right, with Kim Potter. She made a mistake, Trace. She pulled out a gun instead of a taser, and she was convicted of manslaughter. So Alec Baldwin needs to first realize that you can be charged for a crime even if it was an accident. Now, let's get to the other two people, though. I think at the end of the day, Trace, I think the most culpable party here is Hannah Gutierrez-Reed. This FBI report doesn't help her at all. Actually hurts her more than Alec Baldwin, because the conclusion was there's no evidence that somebody intentionally put live bullets into the gun. Why is that important? Because Gutierrez-Reed said, "Oh, I left the gun there at lunch, and then I came back. It was given to Baldwin. Somebody must have put live ammunition in there." That's devastating for her. She's likely to get charged with negligent homicide. I think Halls, the associate producer, is going to get negligence, criminal negligence, and I think it's up in the air. Baldwin is probably the least culpable in terms of why he didn't look inside the gun, but he still is looking at potential obstruction of justice.
Yeah, and you say he's a good actor and good overall guy. I think the jury's still pretty much out on that. I mean, despicable human, if there's a charge for that, Brian, maybe there's some kind of legal benefit for that. Brian, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Meantime.